Have you ever found yourself, in the job market wondering what really happens after you hit send on that application? Or maybe you're on the other side trying to find that perfect person for your team, and it just feels, well, overwhelming with all the candidates. Well, today on the Jeep Dive, we're going to pull back the curtain a bit on recruitment and interviewing. We've dug into some really fascinating sources, especially one called Doing Business in English, to show you the strategic, sometimes surprising ways leading companies screen, interview, and yes, even reject candidates.
That's right. And our mission here really is to pull out those key insights, the surprising bits, and the genuinely practical strategies from all this material. So whether you're maybe looking to hire or perhaps you're the one preparing for that next big interview, you should walk away with some valuable knowledge, gain pretty quickly but thoroughly, give you a real edge.
All right, let's start pulling back that curtain then. The very first hurdle, right, the phone screen, you might think it's just a quick chat, maybe informal, but our source paints a different picture, its main purpose. It's basically a time saver, yes, but almost like a rejection machine.
That's a pretty stark way to put it, but yeah, it's accurate. It's designed to filter out the majority quickly so companies can focus their time, their resources on the real prospects. And the source gives some very clear tips on how to make these screens effective. First off, standardized calls.
Standardized.
Yeah.
Meaning scripted.
Not necessarily rigidly scripted, but definitely structured. Leading companies use a consistent process, asking the same core set of questions to every single candidate. The whole point is to reduce the risk of bias and just make sure everyone gets a fair shake, allowing for better comparison later on.
Okay, that makes sense. Consistency. What else?
Another big one, keep the calls short, really short. The source says the aim is identification for interview, not employment. We're talking maybe 15, 25 minutes long. The focus, it emphasizes, is actually on rejection.
Wow, focus on rejection. That's blunt.
It is, but it's about efficiency. Quickly figuring out who isn't a fit so you can move on.
So in that short time, what are they actually trying to find out?
Yeah.
Those make or break factors you mentioned.
Exactly. You need to focus on those make or break factors. Identify the absolute critical requirements from the job description itself. Then, during the call, you dig into the candidate's experience, their potential value, specifically in those key areas. Are the non-negotiables there?
Right.
And to make it more objective, the advice is to score the candidate's answers.
Score them? How?
Yeah, like a simple system. The source suggests 4 categories. Outstanding gets 3 points, good is 2, satisfactory 1, and poor gets 0. It adds a layer of, numerical objectivity, helps compare candidates later.
Okay, I see. Anything else for the phone screen?
Yes, absolutely crucial. Manage the follow-up. You have to tell every candidate at the end of the call when they can expect to hear back. The source warns pretty strongly that badly managing this can damage the company's reputation. You've got to respect their time, even if it's a no.
That's a really important point. So what kind of questions pop up typically in these calls? What should people expect?
Well, you'll definitely get questions about experience, education, like tell me about your degree or walk me through your experience in this industry. They'll probe motivation too. Why are you leaving your current role? Or what are you really looking for next?
Salary often comes up too, right?
Usually, yes. Though there's a legal note here asking what's your current salary is actually illegal in some places now. So it's more about salary expectations. And then suitability questions like, why do you think you're a good fit for this job? Pretty standard stuff, but filter is fine.
Okay, so that initial screen really does filter things down, which sets the stage for the next phase, the structured interview. Our source calls this the most effective way to guide interviewers.
Yeah.
What does structured really mean here?
Right. So a structured interview uses basically standard questions that do not change and standard evaluation criteria. The hiring managers agree on these questions and criteria beforehand. They might tailor different sets for different roles, obviously, based on what the job needs.
And the benefits are significant, aren't they? Especially around bias.
Hugely significant. This is where it gets really interesting. We know from research that interviewers often make snap judgments, like within the first few seconds. That's just right for unconscious bias. But with pre-agreed questions and that rating scale we talked about, poor to outstanding, it forces a more objective assessment. It really helps combat those gut feelings that might not be fair.
So it reduces bias, and I imagine it also provides consistency.
Absolutely. Every candidate gets asked roughly the same things, evaluated against the same benchmarks. It's much fairer.
And it saves time for the interviewers too, right? They're not scrambling.
Exactly. They feel better prepared because they get the materials, the questions, the evaluation forms all in advance. It really does seem like a win-win.
So how do you actually create one of these structured interviews?
Well, you start by developing those targeted questions,
Yeah.
often starting broad, open-ended to ease the candidate in. Then you move to the core, the behavioral, competency, maybe hypothetical questions. Then you need the evaluation form and the grading rubric. This is key for consistency, documentation, even legal reasons. And typically, the form ends with the interviewer's recommendation. Hire, hold, or do not proceed. Pretty clear options.
Makes sense.
And crucially, the source really hammers home the need for coaching and training the interviewers.
Because people think they're unbiased even when they're not.
Precisely. Many managers genuinely believe they're objective, but unconscious bias is sneaky. Regular training helps. The source even suggests things like recording yourself, getting feedback on who you hire. It's about continuous improvement. It's kind of like building with Legos using the instructions versus just free building. Following the plan might feel less creative, maybe, but the result is much more solid, more consistent.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly and talk about the questions themselves, because how you answer is obviously key. Our source highlights behavioral or competency-based questions as being really dominant now. Why are these so popular?
They're popular because they get candidates to talk about real past experiences. The idea is that past behavior predicts future performance. So they ask you to explain something that has actually happened in the past to show your skills, your achievements. You'll recognize the phrasing, tell me about a time when, hey, describe a situation where, that kind of thing.
Right. And the gold standard for answering these seems to be the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Can you break that down for us, maybe with an example?
Absolutely. STAR gives you a really clear structure for your story. Situation S. First, set the scene. What was the context? Keep it brief. Maybe 2-3 sentences, like 45 words, about 15% of your total answer.
Yep.
Task T. Then, what was your specific responsibility? What was the goal or challenge? Again, keep it concise. Another 2-3 sentences, 45 words, 15%.
Got it.
Action A. Now, this is the most important part. What did you actually do? How did you approach it? This is where you show your value. It should be the main chunk of your answer, maybe 6 to 10 sentences, 110, 150 words. That's like 55%.
So focus on the I did this.
Exactly. Focus on your specific contributions. And finally, result. R. What happened? What was the outcome? Quantify it if you can. What value did it bring? Another 2-3 sentences, 45 words, the last 15%. Use data if possible.
Could you give us a quick example?
Sure. Let's say the question is, tell me about your greatest achievement. Using STAR situation. Okay, so while I was product manager at Zerko, we got a request to build a new app for a major customer using totally new tech for us. Task. Our task was to convince this customer within just 4 weeks that we could deliver a fantastic product. If not, they were ready to go straight to our competitor.
High stakes.
Very. Action. So we decided to build an MVP, a minimum viable product, focusing only on the absolute key features they needed to see. I got 2 engineers specific training on the new tech from an expert in another division. I also worked really closely with our product manager to manage the customer's expectations, addressing their concerns directly. At one point, things got intense, so we actually used some extreme programming methods, and I made sure the team felt supported. We even rehearsed the final presentation extensively. Result, the outcome. The meeting was a huge success. Our MVP really impressed them. We answered all their questions confidently, and we ended up securing a really significant project for Zerko, beating out the competitor.
That's a brilliant example. You can really see how STAR structures the story and highlights the candidate's impact, especially in that action part. Now, STAR is common, but are there other question types people should be ready for?
Oh, definitely. Beyond behavioral, you'll still encounter traditional questions. Things like, what are your weaknesses? Or tell me your strengths. Why should we hire you? The classics.
Right.
Then there are culture fit questions. These assess if you'll align with the company's values. So why do you want to work here specifically? Or what motivates you? How do you handle conflict? That sort of thing.
Makes sense. What else?
Hypothetical interview questions. These are the what would you do if scenarios. They test problem solving, judgment, and again, cultural fit. Interestingly, the source notes that if you have actually faced a similar situation in real life, you can adapt the STAR method to answer these hypothetical questions too.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah. And finally, don't forget company and business sector questions. Interviewers absolutely expect you to have done your homework. Know the company, its history, products, culture. Know the industry it operates in. The source even mentions tools candidates can use like SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, or pestle analysis. Political, economic, sociocultural, technological, environmental, legal factors.
Wow, so really showing you understand the bigger picture.
Exactly. It shows you're serious, professional, and thinking strategically, not just about the job, but the business.
Okay, so let's say you've navigated all those questions successfully. We're nearing the end of the process now, the job offer itself. Our source mentions two main types, formal and conditional, and it also highlights how important a clear invitation email is even before the interview, setting expectations about length, location, who you'll meet, even mentioning star prep.
Yeah, that upfront clarity really smooths the whole process. It reduces anxiety for the candidate, too. But then we get to the flip side, the potentially awkward part, giving unsuccessful candidates feedback and rejection letters.
All right, this sounds like a minefield.
It can be. The source calls it a difficult issue for managers to navigate and strongly advises them to always seek advice from their HR department. Don't wing it.
Why is it so tricky?
Well, several reasons. There's a real risk of accidentally implying discriminatory reasons for rejection, which could lead straight to legal action.
Right here.
There are even potential safety issues in the age of social media. If someone reacts badly or aggressively to feedback online or elsewhere.
Oof, yeah, didn't think of that.
And honestly, providing detailed, constructive, legally safe feedback takes a lot of time and care. So the guidance is clear. If you do give feedback, it must always be in writing and pre-approved by HR. And critically, focus only on what a candidate has or has not done rather than who they are, their personality. Facts, not feelings.
That's a really important distinction. It's about skills and experience demonstrated, not judging the person. The source actually gives some concrete examples of feedback scenarios, which I found really helpful for understanding the nuances. Like, you might be told you're suitable for future roles, good culture fit, but someone else just had achievements that were a closer match this time.
Right.
Or maybe suitable for more junior roles,
Yeah.
the tech, but didn't show enough senior level ownership for that specific position.
Yep, that happens.
Other reasons could be a simple salary expectations mismatch. Or maybe you're suitable for a different role, like your AI skills are great, but this job needed stronger stakeholder management, which wasn't your focus.
All very common.
Then there's just lack of specific fit for unique role needs, or even being overqualified where you get bored and leave quickly. And finally, a lack of specific sector industry knowledge, where your general skills are impressive, but you just don't know their specific world well enough.
Exactly. It shows there's so many factors, it's rarely personal, even if it feels that way.
So bringing this all together, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think the overarching theme is that this kind of strategic, structured approach to recruitment really benefits everyone. For companies, it means finding better talent more efficiently, reducing bias, protecting the reputation. It's just smarter business. And for you, as a candidate, understanding how this works, the phone screen focus, the structured questions, STAR, it means you can prepare so much more effectively. You know what they're looking for, how to show your value.
It really demystifies the whole thing, doesn't it? Takes it from being this kind of opaque black box to something you can actually understand and navigate. It's just incredibly valuable information, whether you're the one hiring or the one applying.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Considering everything we've unpacked today, from those rejection-focused phone screens to the structured interviews to STAR to the careful feedback, how might really understanding these internal hiring mechanics change how you present yourself in your next interview? Or if you're a hiring manager, how might it make you refine your own process to truly find the right fit, looking deeper than just those first impressions?
That's definitely something to think about. Keep that curiosity going, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.